Prepare yourself for a sprawling discussion on just about anything, where critical thinking meets pop culture in a collision of mind-bending proportions. Please secure all neurons and prepare for full frontal cortex. It's time for Incoherent Ramblings.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next podcast by Incoherent Ramblings. We're at episode 011. We've made it to 11, and today we're going to be doing
Take it to 11.
Future Transportation. The transportation of future, where it will be going, where it will be taking us, and how we're going along with it. And yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So today we have myself, as always, Joey Schammel. Also joining us is
Paul Hottinger.
And Cale Anderson.
And last but not least, Daryl George.
Cale's only the gang.
Yeah, you just flicked me off.
He was like, Cale
Anderson, fool!
West Side. West
and
Side.
our sponsor today for Future Transportation, Night Rider 2000 Kit.
Doom doo doo doo.
Doom doo doo doo.
Doom doo 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 doo. Doom doom doo doo.
Hello, Michael.
A man alone with a car out
Hello,
in the
Michael.
desert.
Do you find me sexy? I said, do you find me sexy?
It's not Grace Jones.
Michael,
it's Kit
touch my
Jones.
stick shift.
Okay, so future transportation, such as, of course, KIT. Oh my god, KIT is so futuristic now. Trans Am, right?
He's a
Yeah.
Trans Am, yeah.
Trans Am.
Do they still sell those? Like, for real? Or make them, I should say.
That's Pontiac, right?
Pontiac. Oh, Pontiac doesn't exist. I know this because
Yeah.
I crashed one of their last cars.
That
Okay.
was an antique.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Vintage, man.
Priceless.
Okay, so we're going to talk about future transportation. This is Cale's topic for the week. At the end of today, we are going to, for the second time, Paul has already chosen his topic. We'll talk about it at the end, so stay tuned. Cale, do you want to make any sort of introduction since this was the topic you started us out with?
Well, I chose it because all this stuff on the list is awesome and cool, and I think that I'm really looking forward to robotic cars.
Going to
Like Transformers?
Well, not transforming cars, but just ones that drive me around so I don't have to.
How about like Voltron 2, where it's 30 cars that combine into one?
Yeah, that might be cool.
There were submarines.
I've seen
and
that on
helicopters
the
there,
freeway
too,
before.
Submarines.
Everybody, I'm really sorry. I just deleted the first.
Oh, wow.
We're lost now. Joey deleted
Sorry.
our
can't undo?
cheat sheet.
I don't think.
I don't
so.
think that undoes, does it?
Uh-oh.
We don't know what we're talking about.
It was electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
here we go. We're going to talk about electric vehicles. Electric car.
It's the electric vehicles. Yeah, yeah.
The electric vehicles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, let me
We're
start.
go down to
Electric vehicles. Okay, so electric
Never
cars.
take it higher.
I want to put my 2 cents in. I thought electric cars were going to go nowhere. I thought electric cars, first of all, were dumb because, we're going to save the environment. But you're just using electricity, which is still being made by coal, which is still hurting the environment.
Yep.
And then the whole idea was you didn't get any power out of it. But I believe lately, if I'm correct, and you guys probably know more about this than me, that electric cars have become actually quite viable and fairly...
Motors can put out a lot of torque.
Yeah.
The main issue, I think, with them as of now is battery technology, which is one of those singularity pet peeves I had.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the battery tech, they're a little heavy and not quite as quick to recharge as we would like them to be. That's one of the advantages that gasoline has, is that first of all, we have infrastructure for that. And second of all, you can just top off the tank in a minute or two by pulling into a gas station. You don't top off a battery in a minute or two by pulling into
There's no
a
rapid
recharger.
charge.
Yeah. And then range is an issue due to the battery capacity. Most of these cars are getting somewhere between like 100 and 200 miles per charge, which is great if you have a commute. You can just charge up overnight and drive to and from work. But
Just don't
for
forget.
a road trip, it makes it kind of hard.
It's a good commuter car.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, for a road trip, you'd have to go to the motel and have an extension cord going into the room.
But
or
you're only
something.
going 100 miles at a time.
Dude, so you like have to stop it.
It would take like 3 days to get to Vegas or whatever.
That would make it even worse. You'd have to like stop at someone's house. Can I borrow your electricity? Where would you stop? You could borrow somebody's electricity.
You stop, pull out your own solar panel.
See, there you go.
I mean, those are concerns that have been with us for more than a decade, but the technology is getting better, and it'll
especially with the on the horizon of using nanoparticles for the batteries, like carbon nanotubes, that if they can get those up and running, then it really will be viable.
Mm-hmm. Another issue too with the electric cars, and the hybrids is the cost that it is for the consumer to purchase it. Some of those, it's another $10,000 to get an electric car, whereas you could buy like a Honda Civic and you get like 35 miles to the gallon. Or you can buy $10,000 more, you get something that may get 50 miles to the gallon. But are you really going to be able to finance that $10,000 difference? Is it really going to make a difference in your wallet? You buying $10,000 worth of gas, or saving $10,000 worth of gas for the life of the car.
Right.
Remember
so it's a bottom line. Like if you're going to go in and buy a car, can you? I just see it's not necessarily elitist, but you do have to put a big chunk of change down to be able to say you're saving the environment.
I think it follows the usual thing with think about flat screen TVs. Like they came out and they were super expensive. They weren't worth it, but people wanted to have it for a status symbol. And then more and more people wanted to get it. The price came down. The technology got better and better. And now everybody's got flat screen TVs.
Now you can get a 70-inch for under $1,000.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, the technology has caught up to the average consumer.
It's like a connection of both more people buying it going from a fad to just everybody having it, and also the technology getting better. So it's very possible that electric cars or whatever takes place, I know we're going to go to fuel cells in a little bit, I kind of wonder if electric cars are going to be that type of thing that they talk about in the singularity, where it's the thing you think is going to be good, the thing that you think is going to be the future, but it's really not. Instead, it will be like fuel cells or something.
One of the things that's helping to mitigate the shortcomings of purely electric vehicles is the idea of having a hybrid. And a hybrid kind of implies something fundamentally amiss about a design, in that you have to have more than one power source and more than one kind of energy resource. So as efficient as hybrids can be, they also have their own problems, because you have to not only carry a gasoline tank, you also have to have a battery of some kind. And some vehicles like the Chevy Volt, I think, are taking an interesting approach where the idea is that when you brake, there's regenerative braking that helps recharge the battery. That's true of almost every hybrid. But the thing is that it runs purely on the electric motor, and the gasoline engine on it is just a generator. That's kind of an interesting idea, because it makes for a simpler transmission. And it's one of those things where if you don't want the extra weight of the gasoline in your car and you know you're going to drive short distances, keep the fuel tank empty. And then when you need to go on a long trip, that's when you fill it up. And that would extend your range at the cost of burning fuel.
And I think that one thing that they do is something Cale and I have talked about before, which is there's so much energy that comes from everything. We've talked about sound, on the freeway could make energy, and heat, and everything. This is, I think, one of the first times they've used technology where they're taking this extra energy that's just being lost and they're reusing it. And I think there's going to be a lot of that in the future.
More efficiency.
Exactly, more efficiency, which I think takes us to fuel cells and how fuel cell vehicles are probably going to work.
Well, actually, I remembered the two subjects we deleted. If you want to talk a little bit about them. One of them is part of the electric. It's compressed air cars. Ooh. And of course, you're using a compressed air generator to fill tanks, and then the compressed air works as your I guess, catalyst.
Is that like the steam powered?
No, not steam. It's actually compressed air running and pushing the pistons.
It's like those little Tomy toys used to.
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
sort of.
The little motorbike that would go down
bigger
the
scale.
and all that. Yeah.
And they so those they're pretty good. They're not quite as good as like the Tesla as in efficiency, but they are getting better. They're not quite where they should be.
With the information that I looked at, I didn't see anything about how many PSI those tanks are.
I didn't see that either. But there's like 4 of them.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder what happens to those in an accident, if there's a chance of explosion.
Yeah,
because they're under a lot of
yeah, that's a
or
good
if
point.
you
pressure.
pull the plug or something.
Well, I noticed that a lot of the new technology, they have like these baffles inside of because they were talking about, we'll talk about hydrogen fueled cars later, but the baffles that they're having inside of the vehicle tanks that helps mitigate a lot of the danger.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. The second
and I think
thing
it's
was
kind of a red herring too, because a lot of people have said that's a danger with electric cars. Or I see that on internet forums as one of those things when people start to flame war. Some people are saying electric is good, others are saying electric is bad. One of the big arguments they bring up all the time is, well, batteries catch fire in the lab all the time. But how many people have really had their Toyota Prius catch fire because the batteries overheat? It's just really a non-issue.
well, the robot on Robot Combat League caught on fire.
Oh, that was awesome.
But even with that, we're driving down the freeway at like 70 miles an hour on a how many gallons of gas?
Well, yeah, I think
under our ass,
combustible gasoline is a lot more likely to catch fire than someone's battery,
especially if it's empty. All that the fumes blow.
The fumes are a lot more explosive.
So what was the second thing?
Maglev trains.
Ooh.
Because those are very efficient and, super fast and super cool.
So those are like the bullet trains.
Yeah. And one of the best ones evidently is in Germany, and it travels right now at close to 300 miles an hour. And, of course, the potential for it to go even faster, like twice that.
And that takes out the friction between the track and the wheels. So
exactly, it's
trains
just floating on air.
Steel on steel.
Is that what they're trying to make between here and San Francisco or here in Vegas or whatever it was going to be? I know that prop went through.
I never heard.
What is going on?
Who knows?
The rats are getting busy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's drinking. Yeah.
There's drinking and scratching going on all over the place.
Yeah, I'm having a good
Drinking
time.
and scratching and scratching.
I think the problem with the trains is just like with traditional track is, it's on a permanent. You're on a permanent road. I mean, if you're going to build it, it's just to create the web, the network of track would be an enormous.
Well, you would think that, but from the information that I read, it said that actually setting up maglev trains is less expensive per mile than a regular train.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's what they said, according to the information on the
cool.
on Wikipedia.
How much energy do they take to operate, though?
Well, since it got deleted, I can't click to it.
I'm sorry.
I wish I could.
Or what if you reverse the magnets?
Clunk.
Well, that's the thing, is it's so well set up.
Shoot it off.
Whoops. That'll be in 2012, the sequel, probably called 2013. The maglev, the Earth's magnetic field reverses, and all the maglev trains flow out to space. So
that would be cool.
Brilliant.
I want to say
you've thought up a new science fiction movie.
Hey,
we're the monkeys.
like that's tough. I mean, come on.
Yep.
I want to say that in Walt Disney World that it's not called the People Mover, but whatever their version of the People Mover was, used some sort of technology like that.
I'd
have to look it
thingies.
up.
Yeah.
No, it's the People Mover. It's the Tomorrowland Transit System.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that used it. I'd have to look it up. So
TTLS.
Check, show notes.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
It sounds very much like a disease.
Yeah.
TTLS.
That's awful. No. Okay, so Kale, why don't we move on to fuel cells? Tell us a little bit about fuel cells.
Well, fuel cells are you take oxygen and hydrogen, and they combine them, and it kicks off electrons, and the only other thing is the exhaust, which is pure water.
See, that sounds so much more better
So what's with the hydrogen and the
than
oxygen?
electric cars.
Sounds more efficient.
So the hydrogen and the oxygen, you got to keep them separated.
Well,
That was just
Yeah, it was.
that took a long time.
Anyway, that's how they work, and When I was at PCC, somebody had one of those little cars where you pour water into it, and it had a little solar panel on the top, and then you turned it on, and the solar panel would with electrolysis separate the oxygen and hydrogen, and then it would burn the hydrogen and run, and the little car would race around. So it's kind of cool.
Similar to the same kind of issue as the compressed air thing. It sounds like free energy at first until you consider what goes into it, because to get the pure oxygen and pure hydrogen, you have to do the electrolysis.
Well, it's not necessary to have the pure oxygen, but you do need to have the hydrogen.
Okay.
And that's the problem, is the hydrogen.
Because you generally start with water, and you have to separate the hydrogen from
it could be easily set up for an infrastructure across America. Every gas station puts solar panels on the roof and uses that to separate the water, into hydrogen, oxygen. They just, use oxygen for compressed air vehicles or whatever, and then the hydrogen they pump into your car.
Well, that is one thing about an advantage solar has with that, is that it's more efficient than storing energy.
And that's it. You cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
So
you have fewer losses going from battery to motor, etc.
I think ultimately electric will probably win, but
more specifically
way down the road. We're talking 100 years.
Didn't in that Steven Seagal movie, when he was like up in Alaska and stuff, he mentioned at the end that they had designs for an engine that would do that, but the guy was like killed by the car industry, or like
that's such an obscure reference. You said that because we will never know if you're telling the truth or not. I have no idea.
The Alaska one, when he had like that brown jacket with the little.
Oh yeah,
it's not under siege.
Oh, that one.
Check out the show notes.
So is that the one where he had the leather fringe?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I remember the. Yeah, I do remember the jacket.
I remember he was with the.
Was he a cook or
the Native American girl?
Yeah, that scene in the fireplace. Remember that?
I can see that.
Steven Seagal kills people and looks stylish at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, shove it out. So, fuel cells sound like a pretty good option, but what's the next thing here? Biofuel.
The skateboard.
Oh, yeah, what is...
We're all going to ride skateboards?
The skateboard vehicle.
Oh.
Remember?
Oh.
We watched whole programs about that.
Oh, I forgot about... I thought you were doing like hoverboards or something.
Oh, no.
I forgot about the skateboard vehicle. That's right.
It's a fuel cell vehicle too, but the coolest thing about it is...
I forgot about
that everything's fly-by-wire. So... You can just keep putting different bodies on the same vehicle to have trucks, cars, whatever. And so you could have a garage full of these, and you could just decide, okay, well, I'm going to use my truck today. And so then you
really,
bring
when that phone vibrated, I thought a mosquito was going in my ear. That was weird. Like, sounded like it landed.
No, anyway. I remember the skateboard thing. That was really cool. You just got this basic car body, and you can just put the shell on top of it. What do you want to drive today? Oh, let's take the truck. No,
sounds
let's take
a little
the sports
bit
car.
Like what Ford is doing for their production, because they have a world car, and you can basically install whatever power plant you want on it. And by world car, it means it's the same production car in the U.S. as Europe and Japan,
right,
etc. But the thing is that you can just order it from the factory and say, I want to have a gasoline engine, or I want it to be a hybrid, or I want it to be full electric.
And it runs fly-by-wire controls? Is that
I don't know about that for sure.
Well, that's what I was thinking when I looked at the skateboard thing again, excuse me, yesterday, is I realized, really, you can put any engine system in there, and then you could do that with any type of engine, really, when you put the fly-by-wire controls, because it's just like a 6-inch cylindrical piece that you put into your car, which runs everything.
Okay.
So it can be anything, really.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, it sounds like maybe Ford's made a baby step in that direction, but it's not so modular you can just have at home.
Right.
What engine do I want today?
It was GM, I believe, that did the skateboard, and they actually brought in a bunch of students and had them design, shells to go onto it, and they came up with some pretty cool stuff.
It's a good business move.
Yeah,
because you make the one chassis or whatever for every single vehicle, and you just plop whatever you want to look on it. It's like the Ford. If it's the same everywhere, then you don't have to worry about what it's like Linda's Michi shell for her purse. You can have any purse and put any shell around it.
Oh my God!
It's
kind of brilliant, actually. It's just pretty stinky.
It's like a macro screw.
What?
Dude, not even.
Right.
I've been working to... No, it's all good.
That was... You can't just say it. I know. Well, you did. I guess,
I did it.
But yeah, you did.
So, let's talk about some biofuel. Oh yeah,
Some gas.
So, I don't know. I think the biofuel is a neat idea, but I don't think it's going to really catch on that much. I mean, the concept of using, grease and crap for, well, not real crap, but, for gasoline.
Grass and corn.
It's a cool concept, but I don't know. I can't see it in large production. I kind of think these other things would probably take care of it first.
Well, the switchgrass provides so much cellulose that it's the one that is the closest to being viable. And they're working on it now. They say they've had a couple of breakthroughs that increases the efficiency of the transfer from cellulose to actual fuel.
What is the switchgrass, though?
Switchgrass is just, it's like what used to grow on the prairies, and it just has so much cellulose. It's like big, tall grass. I was going to show. Look here.
Yeah, hey, everybody.
Everybody, look right there. Click on switchgrass.
Well, one
on
of the
show
big advantages about that is, as a crop, it doesn't take a whole lot of fertilizer to get it going.
I know.
It grows
it'll grow on
naturally.
anything.
It's almost
Right.
invasive in some places.
Which is one of the arguments against using corn for making methanol, is that you have to use all these petroleum-based fertilizers anyway.
Right.
And it's almost counterproductive in a way.
And the algae is even more efficient than the switchgrass. And they've got these test labs where they've got them set up in all these big tubes, kind of like sideways water beds.
Cone of shame? That's not.
No.
Just like sideways water beds, very thin, and then they've got thousands and thousands of them, and they grow algae in them. They have the process runs through, and by the end of it, they've transferred it into biofuel, into methanol, and so that's even more viable. But once again, not yet.
I unintentionally grow algae in my waterbed. It just kind of happens.
That's gross.
Nah. I forgot to put the little tablets in the water.
What's grassoline? Because it sounds like something Joe would like.
Oh, jeez.
Well, grassoline.
That's the switch.
That's what they call switchgrass.
Oh, I see. Okay. Got it. Okay, so, let's get to the good stuff here.
Yes, robotic cars.
Robotic cars. Okay, I was talking to my wife, because we are expecting our first child.
Yay!
Hey, congratulations.
And I realized that when they're old enough to drive, driving could very possibly be something you don't need to learn anymore, except for emergencies or something, or if you want to be, talented in it, and I can know how to drive and I can do this stuff.
I got this. 2012.
Because every now and then they're gonna have to make movies with stunt drivers. This is a recreation of 2020.
And it's just I realize that my kids, it's not going to be as big of a thing because you're just going to get in your car and go, take me over to Paul's house. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, say
You.
Google.
Yeah.
Google, take me here.
Yes, Google.
Yeah.
Of course, because for those of you out there who don't know, Google has already made the driverless car, and it's pretty damn good.
And now there are 4 states that allow driverless cars to go around.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just that, they're experimenting with... I mean, they are, but it works. It works well.
They've driven over 500,000 miles without an accident.
Well, there was one accident that was...
Yeah, but that was when the guy was
fault.
driving the guy was driving the car and not the robot.
I think also they got rear-ended one time at a stop, so
did
it's
they?
not the car's fault.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But that's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be one of those things, though. For us, it's gonna be really weird because we're gonna go into the car and be like, "Oh, dude, no one's driving. What the hell?
That's a big breakthrough.
Not me.
though,
I'm going to
when-
sit back and read a book, and I'm going to be happy.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, think about all the things you can get done while you're just being transported.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So I'll just be thinking, what happens
Well,
if
another-
the computer crashes?
I know. You get a blue screen, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
The blue screen of death.
yeah.
Once again.
Again, literally.
Literally.
But the another kind of interesting idea about it is that since the cars can drive themselves, it can.
There's going to be a little game in the show notes, just so you know. Go ahead.
It kind of takes away the necessity for car ownership. It's kind of like Zipcar. There are already some services that let you rent a car, but not like Alamo where you rent it for the whole day. You just say, I need to get a transport from here to here, and it's almost like a taxi service. The only thing is you drive it yourself. When it comes to having all these cars that drive themselves, it could be a thing where not everyone has to have their own car, and that's just an economic efficiency. And it means we can not use great portions of our, because we usually use big parts of our property not that to store a car when we're not driving it. So if the norm becomes that everyone you need a car, and you can have a car that fits the situation, like you're going to go off-roading, just say, hey Google, I want an SUV to show up in the next 10 minutes.
So it's like living in New York, but the whole country.
Kind of like.
You don't own a car, it's a robotic taxi service.
And then you want a really fancy car.
Johnny Cab.
It is
Have a
kinda
nice
like
day.
that.
But no, that's interesting because I think it will catch on in some places and other places it won't. Like, I don't think it'll catch on in LA as much because there's something about owning a car here.
Nobody walks in LA.
Yeah.
Nobody walks in LA.
Is that the
so
Sinatra
true.
version?
Hey.
Nobody walks.
No,
in
it was the Poltergeist version.
Yeah, that's gonna be weird too. If it's like a taxi service, is it gonna be where you're the only one in the car, or is it gonna pick up people as a like a carpool, like if on the way, and then you got the whole social issues, like, oh, dude.
I saw this one where they
might be
had
like the
ones that were going to hook up,
version.
where you drive out, and then as you drive along, 4 or 5 vehicles hook up together, and they drive along, and then when somebody needs to off ramp, then they disconnect and
They don't necessarily.
That'll be on tomorrow. Or
That's
something
like the
Actually, they don't necessarily need to hook up though, because the idea is still having these autonomous vehicles that can just follow each other about a foot apart.
Yeah. It's
And-
kind of
and
like
it's
those
drafting.
those wooden trains with the magnets on each end, and you put them backwards, and they'll push each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
maglev
Did I lose
cars.
you? I know.
I was just thinking that in the movies, iRobot did it pretty well, and that's probably what it's going to be like, which is like, go to manual, and then you can go to manual. But I was also thinking about the one that didn't do it quite as well, which was Minority Report. It had the idea of, I'm sitting back here, I'm not driving, but they were on tracks. It's hard to realize that the cars are going to drive themselves. They won't need tracks.
Well, here's another thing about efficiency. If you get 100% driverless vehicles, then you can have a network control the traffic. And that means you wouldn't really have to stop at signals. You might just have to slow down a little bit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I've seen
Running
some
itself.
animations that show a busy intersection going on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they would have to blank out your windows.
I know,
You would crap
yeah.
your pants every time you get to an intersection. It's like, wait, I'm going to make
You'd
a
be
left
stomping
turn
on the floor
between
for the
these two
brake.
cars?
Yeah.
Like, what? It's crazy.
Well, see, and that's
so-
the thing. With our current thinking, we think that these cars would need to, have everybody driving driverless cars to make it work. But really, they're kind of driving there now. And I would say when they reach at least 50%, the efficiency is going to really go up.
Well, if you've ever seen that animation, though, of all the cars in the
I saw
intersection,
that.
It would just take one Yahoo to go out there
one
and
road
mess it
with
all
his-
up.
No, you know
With
what?
his
You know what it'd be
85
though
Honda.
is that you could drive manually, but there'd have to be a point where at certain points they have to speed up or slow down. Your car is connected to the network because all the cars would have to.
What
do
if you
it.
run
There's
out of
that car
gas?
that now that
Screw up the whole
automatically
grid?
brakes
Right,
for
exactly.
you.
It'd be something like that. You're driving along and you get into the intersection, so it automatically is going to speed up or slow down for whatever you need to do.
I think that'll happen.
Yeah, we'll be crapping our pants.
But yes,
pretty much.
all of us will be like, our kids are going to be like, dude, Dad, it's fine.
Well,
Nobody gets in accidents anymore.
the thing is
and there's a car coming.
Yeah.
But I mean, you understand
body
that,
armor and a helmet.
basically airliners fly themselves too.
Yeah,
But you don't see airplanes buzzing each other.
No.
Well, that would just make
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. And then you got to start thinking like, well, that's an interesting idea. Do you think we'll ever, as a Back to the Future fan, will we get the flying cars? The 2 more years, you better get moving.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's
that
one of the
technology I think is way off.
It's not so much like the technology is incapable of driving cars. I think people are incapable of driving cars. Because you know how much effort it is to get a pilot's license? And then you're going to give that to everybody, and then you're going to have thousands of people.
Yeah, just flying over a house, just crashing into your roof.
People would be crashing into your house all the time. So the thing is,
dude, it's very interesting though,
flicking
because
cigarettes out the window.
I wonder if that's actually going to be an option once they have all driverless cars and it's a perfected system. Then they'll start looking at the possibilities of 3-dimensional.
Well, there is another bad thing about flying is that it's inefficient. We're already talking about how electric vehicles have such limited range. Yeah. Well, imagine an electric flying vehicle.
Just to get it off the ground would take all your fuel.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it would be some sort of hybrid thing where you'd mostly be on the ground, but in situations where it would be better to fly.
Like a turbo boost.
Yes.
If you need to jump over a train.
Something like that. But I guess, come to think of it, if everything's networked, then you're never going to have traffic problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that, so.
And when all cars are looking in all directions and making adjustments, it'd be very efficient.
I wonder how the robotic cars would be for, like, the indecisive driver. Like, times you're, like, driving down there and you're like, oh, dude, I gotta take a dump or something, And do you just yell real quick? Pull over!
They're going to have... Forget it. You're not driving. They're going to have toilets in the car.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
You just push a button in from under your seat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your throne is arrived.
There's a little hand that wipes you, too.
And I can just imagine it's just going to be like Roger Rabbit when they're talking about the rows and rows of billboards and stuff. Since we're not driving, we can read more.
Yeah.
It's just going to be plastered all the way down,
Yeah,
that would be a bad thing too.
This is brought to you by...
Just imagine, your dashboard will have a little heads-up display with banner ads on it.
Yeah.
Well, forget that. You're going to have a TV in there. I mean, you're going to be like, I'm going to watch this. I got 2-hour drive. Let's watch
porn.
Yeah, who's
Oh my God!
Who's going to be watching outside when you've got this big holographic screen in front of you showing you whatever you want to see?
Oh my God!
Is there some?
Sorry, what? We're here already? Oh crap! I got to put my pants on.
There's a little bit of a purist in me that's saying. There's a little bit of a purist in me that's saying, you know what? What's so wrong with looking out the window and enjoying the landscape? I mean, really.
Well,
it'd be great if instead of looking at the real landscape, it's just a screen on the side, and you see the most beautiful. You can be driving down through LA and like, wow, look at that waterfall.
I want to drive over the waterfall. Like I want to be driving and it's just like over Niagara Falls.
I want to be like Tron and just like light cycles coming by me and stuff.
Augmented reality, and so it turns all the cars into Tron cycles, and you're like on the Tron thing, so you're still seeing what's really happening. But
they're totally going to do that kind of thing. They are totally going to do that.
Or like turn them all into dinosaurs or something, or it's just something like way off.
Your preference, personal preference. Totally.
And it would be the whole thing where like it would have certain programs where it would fit the theme. So if you pass you pass a Burger King, it would, if you're doing like dinosaur theme, it would be like brontosaurus steaks. Or, I don't know, some Fred Flintstone or whatever.
Reach this big like augmented reality thing, then why not just do virtual reality? Why do you have to actually go somewhere anymore?
Because in augmented reality, you can interact with the real world too. So if there's a physical object, there's a wall there, I got to walk around it instead of.
I think eventually
the boobs are real.
Yeah,
the boobs are real. Yeah, I think eventually we will. That's true. I think we're going to be all virtual reality, and you just go wherever you want, whenever you want, and you can still interact with whoever. But I think that's way far away. I think up until then, augmented reality is going to be so awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, if you read the book Demon,
or Freedom,
the way they use augmented reality there is the way it's going to happen, and it's so awesome. But we're getting off topic. Yep. So let's move to air transport, because there is some pretty cool different types of air transportation which has been being created.
Flown?
Is in the process of being created.
Yes. So let's start off with planes, not trains or
We kind of talked about planes a little bit already.
You know, there was a flying car. I do remember seeing it in popular science, like in the 90s. There was a car where you could put wings on it, and it became a small aircraft. But it just
I had that Transformer. no, that was Matt. That was Matt. Matt Tracker.
Yes, the gold wing doors that magically have lift. That's
Matt Tracker.
It's like Transformers, but they don't really transform. They just kind of open up.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Rhino like one of the most gosh, what? Oh, look, a missile launcher pops out.
Yeah.
Oh, big transformation.
Matt Tracker, do the doors open? He's just like, open everything.
I can
it's
fly.
Like, dude, I'm flying around.
I don't know if you guys have seen the Robot Chicken where they're at the gas station, they're having their mask meeting inside, and people come up and try and get gas.
No.
And there's an alert, and they like start attacking the people. They're like, why won't these gas pumps work? And they're like hitting them. And then the boulder comes. Oh, it's hilarious.
Great show.
Yes.
Great show.
We need to talk a little bit about planes. No, but we didn't really talk about planes. I mean, what's going to happen with planes once we get to spacecraft?
Well,
I mean, if you want to go to the other side of the Earth, you'll just go up into space and come back down, pretty much.
But one of the things with planes is the full wing shape that they are planning, so that the whole plane is actually just a massive wing, and it's very efficient, and that's one of the things that they're planning on making.
That's the new. Isn't NASA working on that? The new shuttle.
Well,
like
it looks sort of like that.
I got a squishy thing from an engineering journal that they sent me.
I got it.
Yeah, I
It
bet
looks like
you did.
Was it real, Paul?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was real, yes.
All right.
Check the show notes.
So, Paul, this is your job from now on.
Check the show notes.
But,
For a picture.
Yeah, Virgin Galactic is what's going to, at first tourism, but eventually transportation from one side of the Earth to the other. You just go up, come back down, and there you are.
or unless it'll be like Total Recall, which you were supposed to watch, but I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I'd seen it, but
We saw
I forgot.
the thing that goes through the middle of the Earth.
Right. That was an interesting idea.
That was a cool concept. Not going to happen, but cool concept. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Any long distance travel through the Earth is going to be go up into space, orbit around for a few minutes or whatever, and then come back down. But for short distances, I think we're going to be looking at something which you mentioned here, which is the new helium airships.
Yes, Aeroscraft.
You're just like, yes.
Are we running out? Are we running out of helium or something too?
Yeah, that's what they have is helium, and what's so cool about.
Did you just say are we running out?
Running out? Wasn't there like a shortage? There's like a shortage
Too many
of
Mickey
helium.
Mouse impersonators.
I remember reading an article on that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a little problem here.
It's for real.
You always know but when you're going to crash in one of those vehicles because everybody starts sounding like Mickey Mouse. It's like, oh my God, we're going to crash!
Are you guys feeling a little lightheaded?
Yeah, I know.
You're sounding funny.
We're all going to die.
Mr. Bill, he'll be the pilot.
And then one guy's like, what's wrong with him?
He's next to the hydrogen tank.
But no, so Cal, you know a lot about this company and how they're actually making airships possible again because they're not using hydrogen, they're not dangerous, and they're feasible because of the way they're using the helium, right?
Right, and what they do is it's ballast control, where they have tanks of helium, and when all the helium's in the tank, it is heavy, and it just will stay on the ground. And what they do is they pump the helium out, it expands out into the shell, and once it's expanded out, then the ship rises straight up, and they can control it very well.
It's an air submarine.
Sort of.
Oh, that's right. Very good.
I like that analogy, but yeah.
Only it's an air above marine.
Yeah.
Or something, not sub.
Well, it's definitely interesting enough to make DARPA fund it.
6-inch or foot-long sub.
You know, Kale and I came up with an idea a while back, which I'd still love to do.
Your next subject.
Which is using that technology
It is.
to lighten ourselves. Remember when we talked about that?
Yeah.
That it would be so cool. Like, obviously you can't use helium balloons to make you fly because you got to have like a bazillion of them, right?
Like up.
Right, exactly. But
Oh yeah, did you see the MythBusters where they tried to find out if that one myth was plausible about the guy in the lawn chair?
In the lawn chair? Yeah.
And did you see how many balloons they had to use?
Yeah,
yes,
it was
incredible.
in fact, there is a show which didn't make it, was on the Science Channel, but I recorded it and I still have it. I forget what it was called, but it was a group of, it was supposed to be one of those scientists, group of scientists get together and do something, and to see if it's possible. And they did. They made a house. They put the balloons on it, and they flew a house. They built like just a bare bones thing, and they were able to fly a house just like it up, and it was pretty freaking awesome. And I kept it because I wanted to talk about what we said. How cool it would be is if we could find a way to make, using either that technology or using just balloons on big helium balloons, enough just to make us lighter. We don't have to fly, but wouldn't it be cool to like run and go?
Yeah, like in a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like doing like you're on the moon.
You're on the moon.
Yeah.
If we could find some way to use the helium and make it portable enough so you could like totally just be like, woo! That would be so much fun.
That would be.
That makes streaking so much more fun.
You could jump over people and be like, take a look above you!
Yeah!
Hole in one! But yeah, where is this place located, Kale?
What would it do?
Isn't it
for
right around
sports?
here?
Tustin.
It's in Tustin, yeah.
And they just built the first full-sized one of proof of concept.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that's the one that I'm going to call them and try to get us, a field trip to.
That'd be great.
So stay tuned for our new image. Can I say images on Wow!
Yeah.
Oh God! Incoherent
Retro.
Ramblings field trips.
Yes.
That'll
I
be
guess
our new
one
thing.
of the ideas though is that you could achieve neutral buoyancy using
Exactly.
that. So it is the same concept as scuba diving or submarining.
Right.
Or,
Well, and swimming through the air is really not a different concept.
yeah. I have an air swimmer. I know what that's like.
Those are so cool. They have
Clownfish.
Yeah, they had a new one. What was the other one? There was the clownfish and the
Shark.
shark. And they have a killer whale now, I think, or something.
Oh, they do?
No, they had something else that was really cool, and I saw it. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, check the show notes.
Yeah, no,
I have one thing to say.
that was just mean. I'm sorry.
ET3.
Hey, you know why E.T.
ET3.
eyes are so big?
Why?
Because he saw his phone bill.
Why did I just heard that?
Oh, maybe I already told you already. Oh, that was weak. Check the show notes.
What's an evacuated tube transport? Because I really don't know what it is.
Okay.
Dude.
Oh wait, is that the vacuum tube with a?
Yeah.
Like in the
that's
hospitals?
essentially exactly
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
like
What
sending-
they do is
Dude,
that
CVS has that for my prescription.
Sending yourself parcel post, man.
But it's for people.
Yeah.
Right, and all they do is they evacuate the
And
oxygen.
then you explode and can't breathe.
Well, you would travel fast, right? So
But you're in a tube, so you're
right.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they get rid of the air, so they get rid of the friction. And so this has been thought of for a long, long time. But there's this
long time.
this new company called ET3, Evacuated Tube Transport.
Oh, that's good.
And they've revived it in an interesting new way so that you could travel from LA to New York in basically 45 minutes. And you could go from New York to Tokyo in about 2 hours.
Nice.
So these are really, and it's totally, the thing is, the technology is totally here now to do this.
You know, the picture I have in my head is that you'd have to be sideways because I'm thinking like a tube. And so obviously you wouldn't because you just make it big enough to stand up. But in my head, I'm like, you're going to be sideways the whole time and going,
Like you're at Raging Waters or something.
Wouldn't they be able to do something like this where it would work like those things that you use at the bank teller and all that, where it just sucks it
That's
through?
the same
that's
concept.
what it is. That's what they're
That's
talking
that
about.
So you just make a little
same
So
vehicle.
you're not quite in a vacuum then. There has to be pressure.
No,
on
they're
one
going.
side.
These will be a vacuum.
But for you to get sucked through, there has to be pressure on one side. Or,
Well, no, yeah, that's it. You
That's
make
what
a
they
vacuum
use.
on the one side.
Maglev.
Okay.
It's maglev technology that makes it run.
Okay.
But
So
can-
So
their
then it
plan-
doesn't suck you through.
Oh,
it
I
doesn't.
see. The maglev is the technology that makes it run. The vacuum takes away the friction.
Exactly.
Got it.
But
So I guess
how do you
no,
get
it's
in?
not like those
no.
exactly.
So it's going to be like 1 tube from like L.A. to New York.
Well, there's gonna
How do you get more people in there, or is it a one shot, one per
Well,
person or something, or is it one?
I think
Well, you
they
have
said
to-
that
you have
they
to go
could do
through the airlock.
26
stop.
pods of like 8 people in 26 pods per hour. of 8 people.
But can you stop somewhere, or does it have to go from one end to the other?
Yeah, there's stops.
When they crash into each other, they
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can make the tubes going from like L.A. to Denver to St. Louis to Chicago.
Right, exactly, and that's what they would do is go from major city to major city, at least to begin with.
Imagine like the train network. Chicago could very well be a hub for the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it would. Yeah, I think that would work well.
Yeah.
See, here's the ones with the.
Oh, that's
so
a cool
when you get in
website.
and out of one of these,
and these will be in the show notes.
You're literally going through an airlock, I guess.
Yeah,
or did the trains go through an airlock?
And then they go up. They're connected.
Because it looks like this is like an open station. So the station itself is in normal atmospheric pressure.
Right.
So maybe the train has to exit an airlock to come into the station.
It does.
Okay.
And so they bring it up, they connect it to the system, and then it goes through, and then it's in the frictionless environment.
Sideways elevator. Oh, will there be elevator music? You like have to listen to it.
Probably.
It's like I'm listening. The song is a march. No, wait, it's Kenny G. Yeah. Nope.
That's dentist music.
I don't know what that was.
But this totally would.
I'm just looking at this website now. Okay, this looks really cool.
It is. It's a great idea, and you know what's even more interesting about it? It's a franchise.
Really?
You can actually buy the rights to do this.
Okay, everybody out there, donate $1 to Images Unlimited. Yes. They'll give us about $5.
No, we're
I didn't do it again. Holy crap! Images Unlimited is our old company from 20 years ago where we videotaped weddings and crap.
Yeah.
Holy
videotape.
Oh my god!
We didn't videotape that much crap.
Oh, that was just that one time.
Only with the little
$1 to Incoherent Ramblings.
Incoherent Ramblings. So send $1 to Incoherent Ramblings, and then I'll try my joke again. That'll give us about $5, and then we could be one of the
franchise owners. Nice. Or we can buy.
That just gives you the right to build it. See, that's the thing is you really can't copyright this because the technology is so old. It was I think 1950s or something when they actually made the first kind of test and proved that it worked. So, but their system, you're franchising their system.
Yeah, right.
So
I wonder what happens if there is a pressurization of the tube. Is it catastrophic, or would it just be like?
I imagine it would just shut things down, and it'd be like your train stops.
I just wonder.
That would suck though if you're stuck in that tube.
And what would happen? Well, I mean, the thing is, since it's driven by maglev, as long as the electricity is still flowing, you wouldn't necessarily be stuck. But you're right, that would be pretty sad. But what about terrorist attacks? And not like other infrastructure can't be attacked, but this thing sounds like it might be kind of delicate, being that it needs to stay.
I mean, it's
pressurized.
It's always the issue. Worry with poor Kit with terrorist attacks is you think that they could just attack our trains, but the train is all really freight now. Mm-hmm. Amtrak is really so small that right now it really wouldn't hurt too many people with like blowing up a bunch of trains. But if this became like the norm, you blow up a hub or something, and then what'll happen if everything depressurizes, collapses, and we all get shot out in
or actually tubes. pressurizes.
Yeah.
Man, kind of got to think backwards here.
Yeah,
like most of our podcasts.
That's everything though.
Wait. Why is it T3 evacuated tube transport? That's EV2. ET2.
They actually explain it on here somewhere.
Check the show notes.
Evacuated tube transport
technology.
Okay, that works.
I like titties.
Okay, I think show notes.
I think
amazing.
I think we need especially close up of Paul's nipples. I think we need.
Epic.
I think we need.
All right, context, please.
There's no context.
You saw my nipple too.
Yeah, but we didn't tell anyone who's listening what the hell that's about.
They got to just picture what we do around each other.
We got a macro.
The pre-show party is something to behold, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at things close up. That's all. Anyway, so I think we need to move on. Let's talk about HIV and how it.
Well,
the guy's name is Daryl Oscar.
Magic Johnson is here, isn't he? Oh.
What?
I'm sorry.
Hydrogen internal combustion engine vehicle.
Oh, that's just basically it's just using hydrogen instead of gasoline to fuel your car. So
yeah. It explodes the same way because when the Ironmonger threw Iron Man into that bus in Iron Man 1, it blew up.
Right, because
Just like
there
it-
was
yeah.
hydrogen.
Honestly,
Okay, you can't
it's
really
the same
talk
thing.
about hydrogen without bringing up the Hindenburg.
The Hindenburg, yes.
I mean,
That was
one
the
of the
Rocketeer,
most
right?
famous hydrogen explosions ever. So
I don't know. I think this might, but I think this might be too dangerous because it's very possible it could develop into AIDS.
Yeah, I think you're
that's-
on the wrong
that's not
page there.
H-
Dave.
HIV. No.
OCE.
Yeah.
No, this is
This
like
is Heist.
this is the compact
Hi,
edition version
Kev.
of HIV.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi,
But I'm
Kev.
Joey.
Yeah.
It's C and then E. That makes the C soft. It's high sev.
It might make your C soft, but it doesn't do that for me.
yeah. So the Hindenburg.
HIV?
Hindenburg. Well,
Sounds like you're German. That's me.
Well,
That's
it
Swedish.
wouldn't really be like that.
Wait, only 50 minutes this time. Only 50 minutes.
Oh, well, we're getting a little lower on it.
well, the Hindenburg was just pumped through hydrogen and.
Well, the thing is
traditional-
that the tanks on the hydrogen
Oops, sorry,
cars,
that was my cord.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was
the
like,
hydrogen in the actual tanks will be baffled, like I said, with this new system.
what's going on here? I don't understand.
They're like scientists. They're all baffled.
Anyway, it's much, much safer, and the way they've got it set up is that it would, in the case of a crash, it gets evacuated so quickly that even if it caught on fire, there would be no.
Dude, when I get in a crash, I
explosion.
evacuate
It would just
really
be a jet of
fast.
flame, and then it would be done.
Well, didn't they figure out that they did on Curiosity? They came to a pretty good conclusion about what caused the Hindenburg disaster.
Oh, yeah.
It was a combination of, was it the static electricity?
Yeah, static.
It was static and the material or something.
Material.
Oh, I remember what it was.
Almost fire.
They were saying that it was yeah, that's right. It was the Elmo's fire. That's right, and that there was almost
Elmo, Saint Elmo's fire.
oh, I'm gonna blow up the big balloony. Hey, Mr. Sweet. Oh, I'm gay. Oh, there's some big fist up my ass. Oh, yes.
that was Joey, not me.
Oh, I like the gay puppeteer.
All right.
I like the gay puppeteer.
On into the Stirling engine.
Edit.
There's nothing wrong with a gay puppeteer.
Edit.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what the Stirling engine is. It sounds like an old.
Sterling silver.
Sounds like an
Okay.
old train engine from
I
like.
brought up Stirling. It was invented in 1812. It's a very highly efficient engine that works on heat differentials. So you could either have air or a fluid, but air is more common, usually higher than atmospheric pressure. And you just need to have a simple heating element. And the typical design is a two-piston system, and you feed cold air into one side and warm air into the other, and the heat differential because of the expansion and contraction of the air.
Sounds like an
Cool.
ocean.
There's some really good animation of it that I'll post in the show
Wikipedia.
notes.
It's like the,
Sounds like a
like the
OTEC
McDLT.
Now, the thing
Ooh,
is
you
that
keep the hot.
Stirling,
That's what you're saying.
And the
Keep the
garage.
cool. When you put it together, fresh on the spot, you make the DLT. Takes the fresh shit.
so Stirling engines have always been kind of interesting, but they're a little difficult to design because, first of all, lubrication tends to block the passage of the air or fluid.
Yeah, sure
That
does.
does. I tell you. But that's usually for a good reason.
And so low friction materials are usually critical to making them work properly at a large scale. And then another aspect of it is the seals have to be very...
Careful. If you're not careful, you're going to get HIECV. Or wait.
Oh my God.
HICEV.
What, from blowing a seal? Okay.
Yeah,
That's where I was thinking.
That's
the
a
seal
whole
set.
If that
different
seal's
disease.
if that
Taco
seal's a
night.
carrier, I guess maybe.
So, I didn't listen to any of that. What's this thing again? Sterling silver? What?
Sorry,
Oh, that's right.
Daryl.
Hot,
Not
cold
the same,
difference.
it's not the same spelling. It's
Hot, cold differential. Could this be used for any type of transportation, or is it a specific type
well,
of vehicle?
They
it
used it
was
for everything.
it was rumor when the Segway was coming out that Dean Kamen, the inventor of it, was going to work on an efficient, larger scale than normal Stirling engine to operate it. As it turns out, we know it's now electrically run.
Dean came in the Segway. Right?
Segway.
Of the Segway.
Yes.
Sorry, he didn't come in the Segway.
He's like Santa Claus comes on a Segway.
Why is it so slippery?
With the sack.
With sack.
He's screwed him.
Oh, his macro screwed him.
Well, on a side note, aside from any transportation uses, I mean, Sterling has always been one of those things that it seems like the technology isn't quite there. The seals are difficult to manage, the frictionless materials and all that. But it's one of those things that might eventually become a very efficient thing. And you can use like waste heat to run one of these, which is kind of neat. And that might be the thing that helps power things that might do electrolysis to separate your hydrogen. So whether or not it's directly driving your vehicle, it might be integral as a component of something like just running your air conditioner. There could be like a Stirling engine attached to the radiator on the outside of your house.
Oh, right.
That just converts the heat into more energy, right? So it has interesting applications for that. In fact, the first Millennial Foundation, remember they talked about having those deep sea generators?
Ocean thermal energy converters.
Right.
Yeah.
OTEC, that's what I said earlier. It's like an OTEC.
Oh, that's what you said.
That's what I said.
OTEC. Okay,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
it
I was
is.
using
It is
the
like that,
terminology,
yeah.
yeah.
Because it's about the OTEC would leverage the thermal differential between surface water and deep ocean water.
Dude, he knows so much about the foundation. I mean, he was just kind of helping us out a little bit.
So it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of
The
cool
first Millennial
concepts of it.
Foundation. Of course, every time I hear about the conclave that they're doing with the Pope, I'm like, the conclave? Oh, that's different. Why did they call it that?
A real conclave.
Yeah.
I mean, a religious one.
But look, real quick, before we move on, I want to talk about the Segway, because that was supposed to revolutionize,
Oh, yeah, we were all supposed to be on it.
transportation.
Right.
And I find it interesting because it is so... I've still never ridden one, and I want to so bad.
You just got to get a job at the
Do a Segway
airport.
tour.
That would be awesome. I want to do one at the wild animal park, because they have those.
you can do those.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun. Oh,
They give you the little ruggedized one that's like off-road.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it seems like it's found a place. You know, it's being used in different like security and.
For
Paul Blart,
obese
the security guard.
Security people are
Yeah.
all over those things.
But it's also, in parking lots and stuff like that, and freaking one of the best places. Adam Savage using it on MythBusters, and when they're in the like huge area, he's just like going around. Looks so much fun. But yeah, you're not going to see people, I guess, which is what the guy thought. The Cumming guy came in.
Well, I think there are a few things about that. Is that
Cumming came in.
I didn't hear that. So
he said Cumming came in.
okay, now I heard it. No, I'm
I
sorry.
can't hear you.
So there's several problems with them. First of all, they turn out to be kind of expensive. So
Yeah, the cost
what
alone.
huge advantage does this thing have over, say, a bicycle? If you
Right.
want to, a bicycle gives you some exercise too.
Yeah.
But another aspect of it is, okay, if you live in sunny California, maybe you could expect to go to and from work if you have a short commute using one of these. But think about where it rains, where it snows. You need to be in a cabin of some kind.
Yeah.
You're going 12 miles per hour down the street in your business suit or, whatever you're wearing to work. It's just not going to fly.
And it has kind of the opposite effect of the flat screen TV, because there are uses for it, and when you see them being used for these purposes, it makes sense. But if you see a guy who's just riding down, what do you think? Nerd!
Yeah.
Or some guy who's like, oh, look,
definitely has
wasting your
an
money on
image
that.
problem.
Segway.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. But if you see
nerdy.
And
see
really-
the guy in the Target parking lot, you're like, oh, security, that's cool.
Right.
And you can buy a hover round cheaper.
Okay.
And most assurances will cover it.
You know what we're going to
I can
do?
see the
They will.
cops riding around.
We need
on
to start a
hover rounds.
campaign
Yeah.
to make the Segway cool. So I say the first thing we do is we have like Road Warrior on Segway.
Oh, there you go.
And then it's like, James Bond's Segway with the machine guns.
And some of
Oil
those
slick,
Somehow that still seems
Picture
corny.
someone hitting the oil slick on their Segway. They're like, ah! They go flying off.
And there's some of those crosswalks that you won't make it across at the speed of Segway. You'll get a red light by the time you get there.
They were... I don't think it ever made it out of testing, but they were having a 4-wheel Segway that was the total off-road one, not just the big
I
tires.
remember seeing that.
Yeah, where you could like go over rocks and everything, and that would have been awesome.
Well, I guess another aspect of it too is comfort. You have to stand there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
Well, the thing is, the technology about being able to control a vehicle with just slight movements is a really good idea, but they're not using it for anything else. I mean, I guess it just hasn't found its niche yet.
Yeah.
Well, no, it did find its niche. It just turned out to be a much smaller niche than...
Nah, there you go.
anticipated.
But I mean, imagine like you're in your car and you want to turn right, you just go... For those of you out in Radioland, I just kind of went onto my
Yeah,
right.
don't lean to cut a fart in the car.
Then again,
Like swerving over 3 lanes.
yeah, what happens when you drop your cell phone between
Yeah.
the seats?
Freaking have a
do a
seizure
U-turn
all over the
thing.
place.
All right. So unless you guys want to bring anything else out about future transportation, well, let's finish off with the far future. We talked about the singularity. What do you think the far future of things going to be in like 100 years if the singularity hits? I mean, are we even going to be transporting anymore?
I foresee that transporting people will become less of an issue because we talked about augmented reality a little bit, and as virtual reality improves, I just think that people are going to stay in place more often.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see the Taj Mahal, so you climb into your, simulation room instead of actually going there. Right?
You'll have that little
plug
group.
it in,
Turn off the porn.
Right.
Matrix style.
Yeah, and you'll have that small like company will be like, you go and see the Taj Mahal for real. And it'll cost like
that's a
it'll
good
cost
point.
like $1 million then to go see it for real.
We're also going to see things like with 3D printing, a decentralization of production as well.
Right.
So the thing is, instead of shipping items here, there, and whatever, it's like, oh, I would really like one of these little gadgets, and you print it.
Yeah, exactly. So FedEx is going to go out of business. Sell the stocks.
So I just think transportation in the far-flung future is going to be geared more toward exploring the edges of our known space. But aside from that, I think generally more and more people are going to be staying put. Fewer materials will have to be shipped here to and from.
And with virtual reality, the thing is, transporting yourself somewhere will not be like today. It's going to be the same as whatever you're doing. Because you can still do whatever you would do somewhere else in whatever transport vehicle you're in. You're still hooked up to the network. You're still doing whatever. You could be running a mile in virtual reality while you're traveling somewhere.
And think about the future of telepresence. A lot of the reason why people still travel is to just commune with other people. Like we come here to do the podcast. We could do this through a Google Hangout if we really wanted to, but it's not as rich or as real of an experience. Yeah. But someday it will be. And it's going to be just about as good as visiting someone in person.
And
you're still there.
But a lot less, a lot more comfortable because you could be like,
we'll be doing the podcast in our underwear.
Yeah. Or Paul's got to cut a fart and we don't have to smell it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or there'll be a button.
Yeah, there's going to be like a fart filter on it.
Did you guys see the Google Nose thing on April 1st?
No, I didn't.
Oh, wait, I saw something.
I saw it. As soon as I saw it, I clicked it, and then it said downloading smells, and right away I was like, it's April 1st.
Yeah, I know. You can't believe anything on
and
April
so
1st.
I was clicking, and I just wanted to see where it leads you, and you finally get to the point where it's not working, because, of course, you can't download smells, and you click it, and it says, reset your computer, whatever, and the last piece of help advice says, and remember it's April 1st.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but there was a PC device, maybe like around 12 years ago or so, that was actually like a smell peripheral.
Oh, really?
You would put like these mineral oils in it, and it was a USB powered thing, and would like heat them up to generate smells, and it would be like in sync with like a game you're playing. Like you go into some like sulfur mine, then all of a sudden you're smelling the sulfur.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That kind of thing. But there were several problems with it. One of which is switching from one odor to the other is a very slow process because,
I know,
as usual, it just lingers, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that they attempted to make a thing. I just got that. They attempted to make it kind of modular, where you could buy fragrances. Like you're gonna play like Tomb Raider, well, you get like the Tomb Raider fragrance pack, right? But the thing is, they were trying to make it. Which part of her?
Yeah, you don't want the Street Fighter pack, because this one's like BO.
I can smell Ken.
Yeah.
And Ryu. They smell like
Honda.
I can smell Ken's Chun-Li.
Well.
Okay.
So they were trying to make like primary smells, but couldn't quite figure it out, because I guess there really aren't primary smells. Like we have red, green, and blue as the primary colors.
Yeah,
they were trying to have like a few fragrances
that could make any smell, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it wasn't working so well.
Well.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I think that we can move on now and do something very exciting for the first time. Well, second time, but this time is kind of for real, because last time we kind of knew what was going on. Paul is going to tell us next week's topic. None of us know what it is yet, for real, for really real. He's going to throw it to us, and we're going to go,
Hey, well, I was thinking I like this whole future idea, but I want to think a little bit to the past. So I was thinking, how about the evolution of computer technology? And I'm thinking I'd like to maybe keep it maybe the last
subject
30. Yeah, I know. Daryl's gonna love this stuff. Keep the last 30, 40 years. We don't need to know about super way old, because I was actually thinking about technology at first, but then we may be all thinking about stone hose and stuff from the caveman days and stuff. So computer technology,
stone cold hose.
The stone hose shaved so bad.
I know. I'm we could go an hour on that. I'm
wait, did you say you shaved the stone
Venus
hose?
de Milo?
No, I said when I was using the stone hose, there was a lot of chafing going on because they were stone.
Yes. So I could use your guys' help. Let's talk about how computers have changed society, maybe changed ourselves, how we use it.
I think this is a great idea.
And maybe how it maybe changed our career move, or what we did in school, and maybe anything.
One of the reasons I think this is so good, because we did the singularity before, which is kind of like this, but we did the whole singularity. I like this focusing on just the computer aspect.
The digital revolution.
The digital revolution.
Yeah.
Because it's
and let's put a lot of personal stories in it. I think I think that'll make it really interesting.
We could talk about our first computer, about our first video game system,
because
whatever.
all of us are in this weird place where everyone before our generation didn't know about computers hardly at all, or how they work, and everyone after our generation didn't know life without computers.
We grew up in the computer wild west.
Yes.
It was very, things were changing left and right.
I think we should call it that, the computer wild west. Wild west.
Westworld.
So that will be our topic.
Excellent. All right, so you guys need to tune in next week. Check that out. It's going to be a hell of a podcast.
I hate it.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He loves it.
I was thinking of Daryl the whole
He's
time.
getting Woody.
Daryl does not like computers.
At all.
No, nothing. Yeah.
And
smash them all.
Yeah, Booger wasn't with us this week, but hopefully he'll join us next week for another episode of Incoherent Rumbling.
And so far as we know, North Carolina did not blow up.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
still safe.
It's like 3 days later, he puts on, sorry guys, my phone went out. Yeah, thanks, Booger. Oh.
Well, did you notice none of us bothered to call him to find out?
No, we tried. We left like...
Well, we did that night.
Yeah.
Like the next
Later
night,
on.
I didn't call him.
Well, we checked the news in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was right there. I got it.
That was a headline, actually. North Carolina is safe.
Yeah.
Safe. And I want to say, I got a special message to someone out there who's probably not listening, but Pizza Guy.
Yes.
Who was here last week. We talked a little bit about him. I realized something. I didn't give you a tip.
Oh, no.
I just signed the credit card slip because I was so excited talking to you.
You know
All right.
what, Joey? That's the last time you treat him
We
like
got to order pizza next
So
week and
Pizza
make up
Guy,
for it.
He's
if you...
not going to listen
Dude,
to our podcast.
I'm so sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it. We'll try to order pizza another. If you ever come back, I didn't even look at your name tag. I don't know who you are. Just young guy from the Pizza Hut in Arcadia.
He was a white guy from Pizza Hut.
Firefly.
Oh,
guy.
He likes Firefly. Dude, if you happen to be listening to this, I'm so sorry, and we'll get you next time. We'll double your tip.
You know, we normally support our service industry, but
Yes, we do. I was just a dork.
all right.
Because he was like, Firefly, hey, what are you guys doing? I was like, sign the paper. I'm not even going to think about it. So,
Oops.
dude, so sorry. He must have left going, dude, I thought those guys were cool. I was like, no. Okay, so,
Now he's all like, I know what podcast not to listen to.
yeah, I'm going to tell all my friends. I'm going to make sure they have negative listeners. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right now, unless you guys got anything you want to add. Next week, Wild Wild West of computers. So,
What's Paul doing? Oh, he got a phone call.
remember...
Never mind.
No, he's right here. Yeah, man. So, we will...
Paul's Cartman all of a sudden.
I'm right.
Sorry, I got to pick up my kid.
All right, then.
So,
right.
you guys can always email us at the show at I am Ram. Let me start over.
At?
The show at IamRambling.com.
No, it's
It's
show.
Don't say the.
No, the.
No. Let me start over and edit. You can always contact us through email at show@IamRambling.com, or you can put our first names in and then IamRambling.com and
Yeah.
and then you can talk to us because we get tons of email. We'll probably try to get back to you if we can. Anyway,
I know. I got to
All
get
the
through
time.
all those Nigerian bank things. I will get back to you. I promise. And that Viagra guy, I will maybe later.
Who was our show brought to?
Our show was brought to you by
Kids.
Kit.
But he's not
Right.
The Night Industry.
2000.
What was it? Night Industry Tech.
racist bastard.
we might have to.
Wait,
do
dude, Kit was the principal from Boy Meets World.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Mr. Feeney.
That's the same guy?
That's Kit, yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Dun, dun,
We had a car
dun,
for a principal.
dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun,
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. I'm Joey Schammel, and you can reach me at IamRambling.com.
And I'm Paul Hottinger, and you can reach me at HeyIt'sPaul.com.
And I'm Cale Anderson. You can reach me at romsrants@blogspot.com.
And I'm Daryl. You can find me at jors.com. G-I-O-R-S.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Incoherent Ramblings.
Thanks for listening. You can now stop screaming at the open air. Listeners should put their minds back in their upright positions and resume traditional thinking. Find us on IamRambling.com for access to all of our weekly ramblings, show notes, general discussions, and any projects from Incoherent Ramblings. Like us on Facebook and rate us on iTunes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Do that. You know, I don't think that was the 10 seconds of silence.